Good evening, Public Works and Transportation Committee. My name is Tim Beeman, Assistant Director of Public Works, overseeing water and wastewater. Here to discuss the amend the 14 department-wide blanket purchase orders for fiscal year 2024-25. The recommendation is that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that City Council approve and authorize the purchasing agent to amend purchase orders with the following vendors. All-Star Fire Equipment Company for an additional $150,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $350,000 through June 30th, 2025. Amazon.com Services LLC for an additional $150,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $350,000 through June 30th, 2025. Applied Industrial Technologies for an additional $100,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $300,000 through June 30th, 2025. Bauer Compressors Inc. for an additional $250,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $450,000 through June 30th, 2025. Granger Inc. for an additional $250,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $450,000 through June 30th, 2025. Hawk Company for an additional $135,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $285,000 through June 30th, 2025. Home Depot USA Inc. for an additional $200,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $400,000 through June 30th, 2025. LN Curtis & Sons for an additional $250,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $450,000 through June 30th, 2025. Lowe's for an additional $250,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $450,000 through June 30th, 2025. And O'Reilly for an additional $50,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $250,000 through June 30th, 2025. Office Depot Inc. for an additional $100,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $300,000 through June 30th, 2025. Sunbelt Rentals Inc. for an additional $125,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $325,000 through June 30th, 2025. Ventura County Auto Supply, Napa, for an additional $100,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $300,000 through June 30th, 2025. And finally, Waxy Sanitary Supply Inc. for an additional $150,000 for a new not to exceed amount of $350,000 through June 30th, 2025. The blanket purchase orders is an agreement established with each vendor to fill repetitive need goods. We take advantage of quantity discounts through many different divisions under the department. It saves the city administrative time and reduces paperwork, and the purchase orders are created for specific dollar amounts based on individual purchases using available budget from each division. The BPOs are intended to be quick and efficient method for departments and divisions to purchase supplies and equipment and services. We have maintenance and repair supplies, heavy equipment rentals, purchase of industrial equipment, office supplies, janitorial supplies, water monitoring supplies, and source variable frequency drives for replacement parts. Blanket purchase orders. These 14 BPOs were issued by using either a cooperative agreement or a negotiated sole source agreement. The cooperative agreement is bid and awarded in accordance with laws that govern public procurement. As such, other public agencies are invited to utilize them. And the negotiated sole source agreement are utilized for unique goods and services that are only obtainable through one source, such as the Hawk equipment. Potential exists near the end of the fiscal year for the Public Works Department to spend more than the $200,000 not to exceed amount. And even with available funding, if unsuccessful in finding an alternative vendor that has not met the NTE, operational services would be delayed until new purchase orders were in place for the following fiscal year. The financial impact is funding to pay for equipment, parts, supplies will come from available funding in users department operating budgets, and sufficient appropriations are included in the adopted fiscal year 24-25 operating budgets for these various purchases through June 30th, 2025. This concludes the presentation.